Alright, so now I'm going to talk about specialty lists. Now let me define a specialty list real quick. A specialty list is a list generally much smaller than a wide niche list or a blanket list, but it's usually very specific. So for example, it's going to be people that are in probate currently, or in foreclosure currently, or going through divorce, or going through probate, or going through a code violation, or eviction. So any of those lists that has a timing or a circumstance attached to it, right? And they're generally smaller lists with a shorter shelf life. So if you go to blanket list or you go to wide niche list, you're going to have that list. People have owned the house for a long time or whatever. That list isn't going to change every month, right? But with specialty lists, a lot of times that list will change every month or every couple months or every quarter. So generally with specialty lists, like for example, if you're going to go after pre-foreclosure leads, you're going to be updating that list weekly or every other week. Definitely at the least every month. And after a couple months, a lot of those records are going to fall off because they either went to foreclosure or they sold it to somebody else or they figured it out, caught up their mortgage, the situation was dealt with. So it's not like a wide niche list where you're going to market to it over and over and over for 2 years. It's a list that they're going to go on, you're going to market to them a bunch, and then they're going to fall off. The other thing is, with those types of lists, they're not big enough to effectively run cold calling on steroids on their own. So they're a great addition, right? Get out your volume. We talked about volume in section 1. Get out your volume with your blanket list or your wide niche list, right? Hopefully wide niche list as quickly as possible. And then, but also, if you have specialty lists that you guys are marketing to now and that you have success with, definitely add those in. Absolutely, there's no reason not to, but I don't recommend you just do that with a specialty list, right? So if you're working probates or you're working code violations or evictions or any of these other lists, if you add them to your cold calling on steroids campaigns, you will get more leads off of them, but I also, with those small lists, would recommend doing something outside of cold calling on steroids, like putting them on a Mojo triple dialer and calling them all manually in addition to the cold calling on steroids. I might recommend dropping mail to them. With some of the lists, maybe even knocking on the doors. So guys, with those types of lists, the point is that you're going to go much deeper with those types of leads because they're almost like prospecting lists, really, where you're going to the people. You know that they have a timing and a circumstance going on, so you spend more energy and go directly to them. It's less of a mass marketing approach, right, which is what we can do with blanket lists and with wide niche lists, which are going to be much more scalable. So I'm not saying don't do specialty lists. I know a lot of people out there crush it with specialty lists. I love wide niche lists, and I make a ton of money in wide niche lists, and I know for a fact that's the easiest one to scale. But specialty lists are great. It's just understanding how they play into the cold calling on steroids system that is key, and understanding you're not going to get enough volume just from that list. And with those lists specifically, there might be some juice that you can get out of those lists in addition to cold calling on steroids. Whereas with wide niche lists or blanket lists, I'm not going to recommend that you do mail or go knock on their door or something like that. You're definitely going to send enough of those out, and especially with the wide niche where they have equity, that you're going to be loving life and you don't need to go grind that hard and do that much energy, because you need that energy conserved for talking to all these leads that are coming in, qualifying them, making offers, and crushing deals.